a passionate instigator and dynamic problem solver. Dr. Kevin Ross Emery, the host of the Dr. Kevin Radio Show, will be taking you outside the box, behind the curtain, and identifying the load of BS we are fed every day. And now, Dr. Kevin.
Hello, 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 and welcome to the Dr. Kevin Show, where we challenge everyone and everything here on OMTimes Radio, where we're changing the world one ohm at a time. For all my regular listeners, my voice may sound a little funky. It has decided to do some kind of crazy thing all day, and I've been trying to rest it, but I know that I will get through this show. I will not let you down. I am going to take today's guest. I'm going to turn him upside down, inside out, and shake him up and turn him around my head if I need to. Our guest I'll be introducing in just a moment, but remember that you can come to facebook.com/my-Dr. Kevin, MYDRKEVIN. When you come to my Facebook fan page, first of all, if you haven't liked it, like it. That little like button. Like. Go up there and push it. You can even give it a little smiley these days. And then you will see posted at the top today's guest, the write-up about today's guest, how to contact them, and a place where you can be part of the conversation. You can put comments. You can ask questions. One of the things is that it's easy to sit in the cheap seats. It's easy to complain about everything and anything going on in the world. It's easy to talk a lot and do nothing. And then you are part of whatever problem you're complaining about. To make a difference in the world, you must take action. You must stand up, speak out, and take action. So we're inviting you tonight to take action. That you can come and your voice can be heard, your concerns or your questions for tonight's guest. You can be heard through our millions of listeners and share your thoughts and your ideas. And why would you not want to? If you're willing to sit around, over a cup of coffee or a glass of wine or a brewski and complain about it at the local bar or, the morning cafe, then why don't you say something where maybe some change could happen? So be willing to take some action. Put up or shut up. Tonight's guest, like I said, I will be introducing in a minute. But first, we're going to do today's Hot Topic. As my regular listeners know, with Hot Topic, it may be something that makes me feel warm and fuzzy. Or it may be something that makes me hot under the collar. So I was just actually told that there seems to be some kind of update, which I don't understand, that they're saying that my guest needs to do, because I just talked to my guest. So I'm going to have to see if I can bring him in another way. So I don't know whether it looks like we don't have Connor on the phone. So we're going to start with my hot topic. I'm going to also be reaching out to Connor at the same time to see if we can be doing something with this. We're going to see if this is going to come through. So, no matter how many times you try something ahead of time and you make sure that it's going on, you still seem to have some kind of last minute issues with it. Connor, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay. For some reason, it wasn't letting you on before. I'm not sure why, but you're here now, and I'm just getting ready to start my hot topic.
Perfect.
All you have missed so far was that people need to come to my Dr. Kevin on my Facebook.com, see your brightly smiling face, and they can answer their questions. They can ask their questions there. Okay, so today's hot topic, English. I don't know why. I don't know. There's been nothing in the news lately that I've run across. There has been nothing that I have heard that has brought this into my awareness. But the question that I want to talk about today is, if you're American, should you be required to speak English? Should we hold on to one national language that everybody has to speak? And that this is the language that's been the language of this country since it was founded. Now, obviously, before we came over and raped and pillaged and stole the land from the Native Americans, well, there was all sorts of languages. But it's been a solid history of English. I go both ways on this sometimes. We open up to other countries and other people, and we bring them in, and we integrate them, and they become part of the American people, part of the melting pot, and that's part of what makes us fabulous. On the other hand, you do have to have a common language in order to communicate. When somebody comes here to communicate and cannot speak in the common language, why is it our responsibility to take that on? Why must we make all the adjustments for them? If you had what it took to get here, if you got the chutzpah across the boat, jump the wall, file through immigration, hang out with Lady Liberty on Ellis Island, then shouldn't you have the chutzpah? Should we be pushing for a single language in this country? I'm not going to give you a hard and fast what I think. I tend to lean for it, that it must be achieved. On the other hand, I don't ever want it to be said that we are stuck in only English. Some countries that I've traveled to throughout Europe and other places, they have two national languages, their language and oftentimes English, that are both mandatory to be learned from kindergarten. So we have tonight with us Connor Blakley. Connor is a serial entrepreneur, advisor, speaker, and youth marketing branding specialist. Connor helps personal brands and companies position themselves to better connect with the Gen Z in order to create lifelong brand loyal consumers. Connor was featured as the #1 high school entrepreneur to watch in 2016 by Startup Grind. You can find more about Connor at connorblakley.com, or you can come to facebook.com/mydrkevin. There's a link right there. You can see his brightly smiling face. And Connor, I know you're there. So what do you think?
Yeah, thank you so much again for having me on. It's a real pleasure. I think it's a great question. It's something that I try to bring about frequently because I believe that it is a dialogue that should be opened. I tend to sway towards the fact that the United States of America should make English its official language. I think that it's good that we bring other cultures in. We're very open. America was founded on the principles of including everyone to make this the best country possible, in supplying people with the tools necessary to make it the American dream, to get their American dream. However, I do think that it's necessary that everyone speak English because not only in my personal experiences, but experiences from people who've come to the country, it does create somewhat of a language barrier in certain parts of the country. And for me especially, that's extremely frustrating. I think that we definitely can have dual languages. I just feel like to make it most effective and to give everyone the tools necessary to be successful and to do what they'd eventually like to do and achieve their goals, I think that everyone should be able to speak English.
Well, and I'm gonna fishtail this into another sister conversation, which is some of the most horrible speaking English I have heard in the last 3 or 4 years has been from teenagers, and the only language they speak is English. Is it time that we have to stop saying it's okay to have whatever it is, whatever configuration of language that really is horrible English? I have teenagers, and I know you're one. I mean, I know you are a teenager that speak some kind of language, and it's pretentious because there's always a tendency towards in teenagers to be pretentious. It's part of the package they're supposed to be. But should we allow it? Should people be allowed to graduate high school when they can't read and write English? What do you think?
I actually think that a lot of famous CEOs, entrepreneurs, their writing and reading skills were they were lacking, whether it was because of dyslexia or something else. I don't think that that's necessary. I think that actually, it could go both ways, because on one hand, necessarily you don't have to have those to be successful. Do you have if you want to be a famous singer, or you'd like to be a plumber or the world's best garbage man? Do you need those tools necessary to be successful and do what you'd like to do?
That is our music coming up. We'll be right back. Okay.
The cutting edge of conscious radio. OMTimes Radio. IOM FM.
Hey ladies, do you want to have that good hair day feeling all the time? Gentlemen, would you want your special someone to have that glow, letting you know she's feeling completely satisfied? This feeling and that glow can be yours by embracing your sexual power. So join me, Rachel Kenley, award-winning romance author, on the O-Spot. The O-Spot will guide you to that peak with guest interviews, book discussions, and conversations on the thrills of sexual empowerment. Put the zing back in your life. Come up and see me sometime on the O-Spot, live on Hump Day at 10 p.m. Eastern.
What if business could be fun? What if business is the adventure of living? What are you choosing? Where do you do business that makes it easier, more fun, or more joyful for you? We'd love to see where you do business. Connect with us on Instagram at Joy of Business or Twitter at Joy of Business, and share your pictures with hashtags BusinessDoneWhere and Joy of Business. Let's change the world with business. Being a radio host on IOM FM allows you to build your show on a rich platform with the power of the internet to fulfill your outreach goals and connect with a very specialized and global online audience, unlimited by time and distance. OMTimes Radio will provide you with web relevance, a recognizable conscious brand, and with the standard of excellence that has accompanied every single OMTimes endeavor. Host your show with OMTimes Radio Network.
Have you bought into the idea that you have to work hard for your money, that business is hard? I will share some dynamic access consciousness tools to get you out of your own way so you can create a business that actually succeeds. Join me, Simone Millisers, on The Joy of Business at 4 p.m. Mondays Eastern.
Bringing you the best of the conscious minds in the world. OMTimes Radio, your conscious lifestyle on steroids.
Hello, and welcome back to the Dr. Kevin Show here on OMTimes Radio, where we're changing the world one Om at a time. And at the Dr. Kevin Show, we challenge everything and everyone. Today, we have entrepreneur, speaker, and brand marketing specialist, Connor Blakley. I love. He was featured as the #1 high school entrepreneur to watch in 2016 by Startup Grind and deemed a business phenomenon and tycoon. I don't know. Connor, you there?
Yes, I'm here.
You want to hire me? He is a highly sought-after speaker. He's spoken at schools, conferences, and companies on various topics, including entrepreneurship, youth marketing, branding, and social media. You can find out more about Connor at ConnorBlakley.com. You can also come to Facebook.com/MyDrKevin. There is a picture of a brightly smiling Connor in front of all sorts of labels. Or logos. I'm sorry, labels, logos, the same difference. And you can ask your questions. If you are not listening to this at between 6 and 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on a Thursday night, then you are not hearing it live. But if you come on and you still want to ask some questions, they're not going to be read on air, but we will go and get the answers for you. If I have to, I will hunt Connor down. I will pick him up by the ankles. I'll turn him upside down, and I will shake him until he gives us the answer. Connor, are you willing to answer questions on my replays?
Yes.
Okay. My show replays another 6 times. It plays every day. So we never know when somebody's going to be hearing this in 3 days and go, oh, I wanted to ask this. Well, you still can. So Connor, before we move into Outside the Box with Dr. Kevin, I am curious as to, I understand. I don't know how much you know about me. I've been doing work for a long time and had several books out on ADD and ADHD.
That's awesome.
And I look at it as part of the evolutionary process, broadening the bandwidth of humanity, not a disease, disorder, or disability. And so I have worked with children and adults that are ADD, ADHD. I've worked some with Asperger's, a little bit, tiny bit with autism. I've worked with dyslexia, all of this stuff. And yes, it provides some challenges, but there are challenges that with discipline, the right understanding, and the right things that are in place can absolutely be overcome. And shouldn't we make that part of the goal?
Well, I'm sorry, what was that? Make it part of the goal?
Make it part of the goal. You had said in a closing last segment that, there were these reasons why maybe these kids shouldn't have to be able to read and write to graduate high school. And you had mentioned dyslexia or other issues. And I'm saying all of those issues are overcomable, and shouldn't part of our goal be that we put in the time, energy, and resources to help them be successful by making sure that they can read, write, and speak in English if they're going to do business in this country?
Oh, yes, absolutely. I think that in today's education system, a lot of what they have going on, if you can imagine the education system today or the school system as a cinder block, a small cinder block, that I feel like they want all kids with learning differences, imagine them as a basketball. They want the kids who have these learning differences to as the basketball to fit through the cinder block. They want them to conform to a system that doesn't support their way of learning. So I think that in order to kind of churn out successful cases and giving them all the tools and resources necessary, that you need to do exactly that and support them. And I think that especially when you deal with these types of learners and these creative types, I think that the best way to go about it is finding out what are they putting effort into, what are they passionate about, and then correlating that and drawing parallels to actual stuff that they can learn and that they can carry out through the rest of their life to be good at whatever they're doing.
Absolutely. I could not agree with you more. I've been saying since the late 90s that the disability is in the educational system and not in the children.
That's beyond true.
Trust me, Connor, I know. I've done in-services for teachers. I've worked with parents. I've worked with kids. I'm an ADD, ADHD poster child, so I get it. So we're going to move on to your segment, your first segment where I get to roast you. This is called Outside the Box with Dr. Kevin. Where do you want to take my listeners outside the box? Where do you want to stretch their comfort zones? And I've got to ask Connor, how old are you?
I'm 16.
Good for you. Fabulous. Give us some
Thank you.
Your old wisdom.
Yeah, I've been exploring a new topic lately. It's called the idea
Free your mind. Expand your soul. OMTimes Radio. IOM FM.
What if living didn't have to be so serious?
What if you could move beyond your problems with greater confidence and ease than you've ever imagined?
Throw your labels out the window and join the Irreverent Therapist for practical tips and a very different way of approaching the changes you would like to create.
Marilyn Bradford
and Pam Hodling
have empowered hundreds of people to come out of self-judgment, quit looking to experts, and begin to create the lives they desire.
Join us Wednesdays at 7 p.m. Eastern on the Irreverent Therapist Show.
OMTimes Magazine is one of the leading online content providers of positivity, wellness, and personal empowerment. A philanthropic organization, their net proceeds are funneled to support worldwide charity initiatives via Humanity Healing International. Through their commitment to creating community and providing conscious content, they aspire to uplift humanity on a global scale. OMTimes, co-creating a more conscious lifestyle. Host your show on IOM FM, the radio network of OMTimes Media, one of the more recognized brand names in the conscious community, and is backed by the extensive marketing reach of OMTimes. Hosting a show on IOM FM immediately connects you with our extensive dedicated community.
The truth is, you can't change the world if you're broke. I know, I tried. Isn't it time you turned your life's calling into a profitable, freedom-based business? I'm Michelle Barr. Join me every Thursday at 2 p.m. Eastern for Sacred Success.
Conscious media for conscious minds. OMTimes.
Hello, 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 and welcome back to the Dr. Kevin Show, where we're challenging everything and everyone, even if it's in a slightly crackly voice. We have tonight with us Connor Blakley. Yeah, the voice. Yep. I will survive till the end. I'm Connor Blakley, entrepreneur, speaker, branding and marketing strategist. He's previously, Connor ran a social media consultancy that grew to over 50 clients in North America, as well as many non-legitimate enterprises shut down by his school before he turned 13. Good for you. Free time, Connor loves traveling, reading, winning recreational basketball championships, and trying to get his dog to like him. He sounds like a cat. You can find out more about Connor at connorblakely.com, or if you want to ask a question, be part of the dialogue. Remember, you hear it here every week. You can either be part of the problem or the solution. Muttering from the cheap seats, not taking action, makes you part of the problem. Here is an opportunity to ask a very bright and a very in-the-know young man who has already probably had more businesses than most of you have ever had, and you're 2 to 3 times older, and he's on the know of what Generation Z wants, and you're not asking questions, but you're complaining to people, why can't I get my message across to the younger generation? Well, because you won't get up off your lazy and ask the question when you got a chance to. Do you like how I talk to my listeners? It's amazing I have any, right?
Love it.
So this segment is called Behind the Curtain with Dr. Kevin. It starts always, unless you've been on my show before, with it is a quiz. So we're going to see if I can do the quiz this week with my voice. And the quiz is, from what movie came this line? Ignore the man behind the curtain.
Ooh, I'm answering it?
You're answering it.
The Wizard of Oz.
Yes. Now, did you Google it?
Yes.
You did. I could hear you typing. Don't forget to read the sidebar. I asked you a question. You cheated.
Full disclaimer, I Googled it.
Have you ever seen The Wizard of Oz, Connor?
I did, but it was in like the 8th grade, so I don't really remember it.
The 8th grade, and you don't remember it? That's really sad.
I can't remember what I had for breakfast.
I remember the 8th grade, and I'm just 1 or 2 years older than you. The reason that I use that quote is because you had a shyster from Kansas whose balloon blew off course that was pretending to be the powerful Oz, the great and powerful Oz. And he was just a shyster. Often in today's world, we're sold the bill of goods by media, by government, by corporations, by religious institutions, by educational institutions. We're basically sold the bill of goods, and they want us to believe it's something that's not. So now you get to peek behind the curtain and take my listeners with you. What truth would you like to expose them to?
I think that if you are completely sold on Donald Trump as a great businessman and running the country like a business, then you're ignorant because you're not informed. I am a proponent of some of the values that Donald Trump brings to the table. Full disclosure, once again, I think Kasich should be the Republican nominee. But I mean, a lot of people are sold, like I was in the beginning, as to where Donald Trump is going to run the country like a business, make people do things, make things happen. What a lot of people don't know about Donald Trump is when he just got out of college, graduated from Penn, his dad gave him what I think it was anywhere from $10 to $15 million. And on top of that, a real estate empire. In my opinion, it's a lot easier to exponentially grow 15 million in a real estate empire into 10 billion or whatever his actual net worth is than starting from 0 and going to 2 million. He's had several of his companies go bankrupt, and people try to make the argument that the bankruptcies were non-legitimate and stuff like that. No, they were completely legitimate, and it's because the enterprises failed. And when an enterprise fails, it's because calculated, decisive decisions were not made. And if you, like I have relationships with contractors who have worked with Trump Enterprises and in his bread and butter industry, which is the hotels and stuff like that, who will not work with him because he's so dishonest. I think that when a lot of people dig deeper into the history, the ethics, kind of go, in a way, going behind the curtain as the huge facade that he puts out, I think that they'll realize a lot of very shady and uncovering truths that haven't been thrown out on the table.
So when did shady, lying, greedy, and incompetent ever stop anyone from being elected?
That was also a good point. But I think this is a unique case because this is something that's never been seen before. Everyone's losing to Trump because they're trying to play his game better than Trump is playing his own game. That'll never happen. No one will ever beat him that way. And when they try to play his game, it comes off as unauthentic. People hate not being authentic. The core of human relationships is authenticity and being genuine. And I just that's what I think.
Now, it's interesting because, I will ask anything and everything on this show. So you made it very clear. Now, first of all, I agree with you that, Trump has completely misrepresented himself. I myself have done many shows and blogs and everything that the only thing that's ever going to help this country maybe save its political system from just having to be drowned in the ocean would be to get a 4 to 5 party system and to get rid of lobbyists and get rid of the Electoral College and make everybody have to play on a level playing field so that money isn't, when you got enough money, you can spin any illusion and lie, and people are going to see it enough times and they're going to believe it because most people are lazy thinkers. Unfortunately, they're lazy thinkers. But you said you wanted to see John Cage. Does that mean that you are a Republican? You would like to be a Republican if you could vote? I know you can't.
No, I actually I vote from. I mean, if I could vote, I would from both sides of the aisle. I'm independent. I don't support any party. In my opinion, I think it was either George Washington or Abraham Lincoln that said having a split party system would be the demise of the American government, and I think it's just a matter of time before that plays out. It's not about the issues, the improvements. It's about how many votes can we get. Here's how we can play the people. Here's how we can position ourselves to better position ourselves in not the country. It's too self-centered, and it's not a collective focus. It's two parties going against each other to win an election, and not a bunch of people coming together to win for the country.
I agree. I absolutely agree. My question for you is two things. One, if you could vote with the players that are running right now, who would you vote for?
I think for lack of a better word, I think this election is just crap. Like all the candidates each have overlying cons that you're literally picking from the island of misfit toys as far as candidates. For the Democratic Party, Hillary Clinton is a lying, corrupt scum. Like, I absolutely hate everything that the Clintons stand for. I don't even like the Clinton Foundation because their money I just don't like it. I think it's dirty money. There's a lot of stuff that I've read from people that I really, really respect on them. Bernie Sanders would win if he didn't label himself as a socialist. I like the fact that the wealth is not evenly distributed, because I think that no one should be handed anything. I actually think that they should get rid of welfare, because in a lot of places under the current program, you get more money if you have more kids. And they give you free phones and free this and free that. No. You can't give people handouts who put themselves in that situation in the first place. So I wouldn't vote for Sanders. I already explained Trump. And then Ted Cruz. It's not authentic enough for me. That's just point blank. Like I said before, the core to human relationships is connection and authenticity. He doesn't capture either of those, and he doesn't position himself as a strong leader. John Kasich is actually, in my opinion, the best possible candidate, because when you think about all of the candidates, right, you weigh the pros and the cons. But with Kasich, and this is just from my personal opinion, right? So take it for whatever. I can't even vote, but the only downfall is what he wants to do with education. He just wants to get the governments more involved in education, and when he spreads it out to the states, that's going to cause more corruption and confusion and that kind of stuff. So yeah, that's just my 2 cents.
Hey, and you know what, Connor? It was your 2 cents I was asking for.
Yeah, thank you.
So the government has got increasingly involved in the private lives of its citizens. What do you think about that?
I don't think in 2 years people will frankly give a shit, because I mean, if you look at it now, look across like social media, look at how many people are on social media. People know that their privacy is being compromised, but they don't care because they want the attention and engagement that comes from it anyway. I think that issue is going to be irrelevant unless a huge line is crossed or something's leaked. I mean, you have stuff like AI coming out, personal home systems, virtual reality. It's going to get really crazy in the next couple of years. I think privacy is going to become irrelevant because people are going to be too in.
Our music is coming on. I'm going to reframe that question, and we'll be right back.
bringing a more conscious lifestyle to your world. OMTimes Radio. IOM-FM.
Live with medium Lisa Phoenix, Mediumship Messages and Musings, explores mediumship and all things metaphysical. Lisa Phoenix invites you to reach above and beyond your everyday experiences to explore new dimensions in the spirit world. She will do live readings to connect callers to their loved ones in spirit, shares engaging stories and teachings from her own personal experience, and will have intriguing conversations with other mediums, spiritual teachers, and healers to help you understand the metaphysical world so you can connect to these forces in your day-to-day life. Join your host on this magical and metaphysical journey into the world of spirit every Sunday at 1 p.m. Eastern Time.
Simone Milasas would like you to know that business can be fun, which is why she wrote the book, Joy of Business. What if you could have the joy of business rather than the stress and struggle? Most of the time, the only thing stopping you from a thriving business is you. In the Joy of Business book, Simone gives you access consciousness tools and pragmatic ways to get out of your own way and to create the business, life, and living you know is possible and beyond what this reality says is achievable. Business is joy. It's creation. It's generative. It can be the adventure of living. You can purchase your copy of the book through Amazon or Joy of Business website, www.accessjoyofbusiness.com. Being a radio host on IOM-FM allows you to build your show on a rich platform with the power of the internet to fulfill your outreach goals and connect with a very specialized and global online audience, unlimited by time and distance. OMTimes Radio will provide you with web relevance, a recognizable conscious brand, and with the standard of excellence that has accompanied every single OMTimes endeavor. Host your show with OMTimes Radio Network.
Vibe Nation Radio is brought to you by Carrie Turcott and Dean Thomas. Each week we bring a refreshing outlook to lifting the veils of illusion that occur in our daily lives. We will share our own learnings and personal experience that allow others to understand who they truly are.
At the end of each show, Carrie will be tapping into the listeners' energies just to give an idea of what to expect for the week ahead. So join us each Monday at 3 p.m. Eastern, and together we will discover the inner keys that will unlock the true you.
Free your mind with OMTimes Radio. IOM-FM.
Hello, 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 and welcome back to the last segment of the Dr. Kevin Show, where we challenge everything and everyone here on OMTimes Radio, where we change the world one ohm at a time. Once again, I apologize for my voice. It sounds better than it did when I woke up this morning, and I am going to make it through this show. Tonight's guest is Connor Blakley. Connor is a happening 16-year-old who has already run awards, got companies, founded a company, doing branding and strategy and helping people in social media connect with Generation Z, and has managed to do things that, made the school system feel threatened, and he got to, they got to close him down for a few things. Good job. There were many times when I was in high school where they tried to give me detention, suspensions, get rid of me, and I challenged and won every one of them until I graduated early. Unfortunately for them, they didn't have early graduation, but I didn't really care. I told them they'd figure it out as I walked out the door. So I'm all about rebels. My closing question of the last segment was about that governments seem to want to really still get involved in people's personal life, like how to raise their children, forcing them to medicate them when there's clear evidence that may not be the right choice, getting involved with like who should marry who. North Carolina as a state just overthrew all the LGBT discrimination throughout the state of North Carolina. So If a city passed non-discrimination laws, the state has now said, too bad. We as a state have decided it's legal to discriminate if they're gay. So should our government be involved? Should our government be in our bedroom? Should they be telling us how to parent our children? Do they get to claim moral high ground in any case? What do you think?
No. No. They can't do any of that. I mean, if I could compare that to anything, it would be a teacher standing in a classroom filled with 200 students in a college lecture hall and saying, "Hey, everyone, you hold on, I'm trying to make sure I can phrase this effectively. Everyone, if you can't do this, this, and this, then you're stupid." But what they don't realize is everyone is going to have a different path in a different way that they figure out for themselves to be able to do it effectively. So, I mean, yes, they have big data or whatever they think is effective, but I mean, you can't control people like that. It's not any of my moral compass tells me that that's ridiculous, because you have to let people make the decisions for themselves that are best for their family.
You know, there's a term you may or may not be aware of, which is the term of victimless crimes, things that happen that are considered victimless crimes. Prostitution for years was considered a victimless crime.
Yep.
Now, there's been great debate on that, and I've had some of those debates on my shows through the years. But certainly some of the stuff around LGBT fall into victimless crimes. Like, it doesn't hurt anybody. Why is the government?
That's been my entire argument on that specific issue and other stuff like that. It's not about what people think is right or whatever. Like, in my opinion, there's a lot of different things that should be made legal solely based on the fact that they're not harming anyone else, and it's up to a single person's discretion to be able to make those decisions.
Does your God give a shit who I sleep with?
I'm not educated enough on that.
So, in our last segment, and you've got about 6 minutes, and it's called What a Load of Crap with Dr. Kevin. What load of crap do you want to expose to the world?
If your children are glued to their phone at certain times, I don't think you should be telling them to get off unless it's becoming out of hand. My case for that is you have not grown up in a time where technology has been prevalent enough to have the impact that it's had on human life today. I believe that technology is an incubator for human engagement and to lessen the barrier of knowledge. Those two things combined can change the world. I would have not been able to do everything I've done today and have the speed at which I've done it unless there was technology. Like, I met Cameron Harold, who's one of my main mentors and friends, in the 8th grade when my life was a shitstorm. Like, I got diagnosed with ADD, all of that stuff. Like, I almost got suspended from my homework selling network. I was trying to figure myself out. I come across this random guy's TED Talk, and it was on raising kids to be entrepreneurs. And I was like, oh my God, this guy's exactly like me in 30 years. I need to meet him. So it started off, I sent him 4 emails before he even replied to me. And we got on a call, and then it just kind of happened from there. And I've known him for 2.5 years. Those kind of things, life-changing moments, would not have been able to happen. Another example, you had Justin Lafazan on your show too, who's the founder of Next Gen Summit. That conference literally changed my life. I thought I was the only 16-year-old in the world, like, trying to do all this cool stuff. I was 15 at the time. And I went there, and I was just my eyes open to all of the other cool kids around the world and all of that. None of those experiences would be possible without technology. I think that you just let them go.
Okay, so first of all, I'm going to play devil's advocate for just a second.
Devil's advocate?
Yep. I'm going to play devil's advocate for just a second. Technology does a lot of great things. And I figured you were one of my kids. In fact, I think I referred to you as one of my kids earlier. Because I call all the ADD and all the ADHD my kids. But it's also, what are you doing on that device? And
exactly.
There is less connectedness, and I watch it. I watch people that can't talk to each other face to face that have a great conversation on text. And technology has been blamed as one of the reasons why there's actually been a decrease in births and sexual interest on the part of young men in Japan. That they don't know how to connect, that they isolate, that they get all of their needs met through technology. And 30 years old and have never dated a woman and don't think they'll ever have children. And the idea of physical contact is almost frightening. It's almost like a social anxiety disease. So I think that we have to be very prudent. I think that we have to look at this and say, you must also go for a hike. You've got to hug a tree.
Expand your mind. Find other avenues for fun. Yeah, you can't live through your phone. You have to use your phone to help you live.
Yeah, I mean, it's a great support tool. It's got to be the servant, not the master. And and I see my ex, who was quite a bit younger than I was quite a bit younger than I was at the time. He and I once a year would take a day where we completely unhooked from technology to just go out and reconnect. Like we wouldn't even bring it. We would pretend it did not exist. We were in a time before phones, before internet, before this. And sometimes we did it more than once a year, but at least once a year for 7 years, we made sure that we had that time to check back in, and nothing was more important. And you can only make sure that nothing is more important if you turn the phone off.
Yeah.
So, closing thoughts. We've got about a minute. What would you like people to take away from today and from you, Connor?
Vote Kasich. Have your kids open your mind. And make sure you're always looking at the bigger picture and not letting the clutter and noise of the world take you away from what you really want to learn or what you want to do. I think what people should take away from the conversation is kind of morphing through and living your life through yourself. And the best way to live life and have a full life is doing what you want. And that was Connor Blakley. We will see you next week here on the For Kevin.